Jake Morrison sat at the large crystal table in the Galactic Council chamber. Around him, alien beings from across the galaxy watched with their strange eyes. Some had multiple arms, others breathed through tubes, and a few glowed with soft light. Jake had been coming to these meetings for 20 years, and he was tired of the same old problems. He looked down at his notes. Another human proposal had been rejected. The third one this month. His hands clenched into fists as he remembered all the times the aliens had said no to human ideas. The chamber was huge, with a dome ceiling that showed the stars outside. Hundreds of alien delegates sat in their special chairs built for their different body types. At the center, a blue hologram showed the current topic of discussion. Jake stood up slowly. The room became quiet. Even the translator machines seemed to pause. "I have something to say," Jake announced. His voice was calm but firm. "For 50 years, humans have been part of this council. We have shared our technology, our resources, and our knowledge. We have sent our people to fight in your wars and help with your problems." The alien delegates began to whisper among themselves. Some made clicking sounds. Others hummed in low tones. Prime Minister Zythara of the Zilithian Empire raised one of her forearms. She was tall and thin, with blue skin and large black eyes. Her voice came through the translators with a cold tone. "Human Morrison, your species is still young. You have been in space for only a few hundred years. We have been traveling between stars for thousands of years. Perhaps you should listen more and speak less." Jake felt his anger rising. This was exactly the kind of response he expected. He looked around the chamber at all the alien faces staring at him. "Every time we suggest something new, you call it too dangerous," Jake continued. "When we offer to help with the pirate attacks in Sector 7, you say our methods are too violent. When we share our new engine designs, you say they are too risky. When we volunteer for dangerous missions, you say we are too reckless." A delegate from the Aquatic Federation made a bubbling sound that the translator turned into words. "Humans do not understand the careful balance we have maintained for centuries. Your actions could upset the peace we have worked so hard to build." Jake laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Peace? You call it peace when entire colonies are destroyed by raiders while your fleets take months to respond? You call it peace when trade ships are attacked because your patrol routes have not been updated in 50 years? His aide, Captain Lisa Hayes, sat beside him looking worried. She was a small woman with short brown hair and sharp green eyes. She had been with Jake for 10 years, and she knew when he was about to do something big. "Sir," she whispered, "maybe we should discuss this in private first." But Jake was not finished. He pulled out a data tablet and began reading from it. "In the last 10 years, humans have contributed 30% of all military support for Council operations. We have provided 25% of all scientific research. Our trade networks handle 40% of all goods moved between Council worlds. Our exploration teams have discovered 60% of all new planets added to Council territory." The chamber was completely silent now. Even the constant humming of the life support systems seemed quieter. "And what do we get in return?" Jake asked. "We get 3 votes out of 200 in Council decisions. We get told that our ideas are too primitive. We get treated like children who should be grateful just to be allowed in the room." "Counselor," Vex of the Silicon Collective spoke up. His voice sounded like metal scraping against stone. "Humans have contributed, yes, but contribution does not equal wisdom. Age brings understanding that your species has not yet achieved." Jake looked directly at Vex. "You want to talk about age? Your species has been part of this council for 3,000 years. In that time, how many new technologies have you developed? How many new worlds have you explored? How many problems have you solved?" Vex did not answer. "I can tell you," Jake continued. "In the last century, the Silicon Collective has developed 0 new technologies, explored 0 new worlds, and solved 0 major problems. But humans, in just 50 years, have done more to advance galactic civilization than most council members have done in millennia." Prime Minister Zythara stood up, her tall frame towering over the table. "This is exactly why humans are not ready for greater responsibility. You are arrogant and impulsive. You think that because you have had some success, you know better than species who have survived for thousands of years. Jake felt something snap inside him. All the years of frustration, all the rejected proposals, all the condescending attitudes came together at once. You know what? Jake said, his voice rising. You are right about one thing. We are different from you. When we see a problem, we try to fix it. When people are in danger, we help them. When something is not working, we change it. You call that impulsive. We call it being responsible. He began packing his materials into his briefcase. Lisa watched him with wide eyes. Jake, what are you doing? She asked quietly. I am done, Jake said loud enough for the whole chamber to hear. Earth hereby withdraws from the Galactic Council. Effective immediately. We will handle our own affairs from now on. The chamber exploded with noise. Aliens were shouting, clicking, humming, and making sounds the translators could not even process. Some stood up from their chairs, others waved their arms or tentacles in the air. Jake walked toward the exit with Lisa hurrying beside him. Sir, are you sure about this? Lisa asked. We have worked so hard to build these relationships. Jake stopped at the huge doors that led out of the council chambers. Through the clear walls, he could see Earth hanging in space like a blue and green jewel. It looked beautiful and strong, even from so far away. Lisa, they never wanted our partnership, Jake said sadly. They wanted our resources and our help, but they never wanted to treat us as equals. It is time to show them what they are losing. As they walked out of the chamber, Jake could hear the aliens still arguing behind them. Some were demanding that Earth reconsider. Others were saying good riddance. A few were already discussing how to divide up the responsibilities that humans had been handling. Within 6 hours, the news had reached every human ship and station in the galaxy. The response was immediate. Human captains began shutting down their operations at council facilities. Trade ships changed course for Earth-controlled space. Military vessels stopped their patrols of council territory. The Great Withdrawal had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 months had passed since Jake Morrison walked out of the Galactic Council chambers. The effects of humanity's withdrawal were starting to show across the galaxy, and they were bigger than anyone had expected. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of the human ship, New Hope. She was a tall woman with gray hair and sharp blue eyes. She had spent 30 years in space, fighting pirates and exploring new worlds. Now she was leading humanity's first independent deep space mission. Admiral, we are receiving a message, said Communications Officer Ben Rodriguez. He was a young man with dark hair and nervous hands. It is marked as urgent priority. Kate looked at the main screen. Who is it from? The Altarian Republic, ma'am. They are asking for immediate help. Kate almost laughed. The Altarians had been some of the loudest voices against humans in the council. Their delegates always said that human military tactics were too violent and brutal. Put them on screen, Kate ordered. The image appeared showing Chancellor Vexthul of the Altarian Republic. Kate remembered him from council meetings. He was always perfectly dressed in expensive robes and spoke in a proud voice. Now he looked terrible. His robes were dirty and torn. His face was tired and scared. Admiral Sullivan, the Chancellor began, his voice shaking. We need your help. The Korthak raiders have attacked 3 of our outer planets. Our defense fleets cannot stop them. Thousands of people are dying. Kate crossed her arms and looked at him coldly. I remember you calling our military methods unnecessarily brutal just 4 months ago. What has changed your mind? The Chancellor's face became red. Please, Admiral, this is not the time for old arguments. We can pay you well. We can offer trade deals, mining rights, anything you want. That is interesting, Kate said slowly. But we are no longer part of your council, remember? Our ships and soldiers work for human interests now, not for aliens who think we are too primitive to have opinions. Before the Chancellor could respond, Kate cut off the transmission. The bridge became quiet. Ma'am, Ben said carefully. Should we help them? Those are innocent people being killed. Kate looked out at the stars through the bridge windows. Ben, for 50 years we helped everyone who asked. We sent our ships to fight their wars. We sent our people to die for their causes. And what did we get? We got told we were too young, too violent, too stupid to make our own decisions. She turned back to her crew. If the Altarians want help, they can hire private security companies. We have our own people to protect now. Far across the galaxy, similar conversations were happening on dozens of worlds. The Galactic Council was discovering just how much they had depended on human help. On the mining world of Kepler 442b, Operations Manager Tony Walsh received his 5th emergency call that day. He was a big man with rough hands and a thick beard. He had been running mining operations for 20 years. "Mr. Walsh, this is Director Zoomtar of the Mineral Consortium," came the alien voice through his communicator. "Our extraction systems have failed again. We need human engineers to fix them." Tony looked around his small office. Through the window, he could see human miners loading the last of their equipment onto transport ships. "Sorry, Director," Tony said. "All human personnel are being transferred to our own mining operations. We are no longer available for consortium work." "But you cannot leave," the alien director said in panic. "The entire operation will shut down without human expertise. We will pay double your previous salary." "Should have thought of that before. You voted to limit human involvement in consortium decisions," Tony replied. "We are done taking orders from people who think we are too stupid to make our own choices." The same pattern was repeating across the galaxy. On research stations, human scientists were packing up their work and leaving. Dr. Alex Turner was one of them. Alex was a thin man with messy brown hair and thick glasses. He had spent 15 years studying alien technology for the Council. Now he was working at humanity's first independent research station beyond Council space. "Dr. Turner," his assistant Marie Collins called out. She was a young woman with bright red hair and an excited smile. "The Science Consortium has sent another offer. They are willing to pay 3 times our old salary if we come back." Alex looked up from his work. He was building a new type of scanner that could find habitable planets faster than anything the Council had. "What did you tell them?" "I told them we are busy," Marie said with a grin. "We have 5 new planets to study, and we can do it without asking permission from a committee first." Alex smiled. For the first time in his career, he could study what he wanted when he wanted. No more waiting months for approval. No more having his research called too dangerous by aliens who had not discovered anything new in centuries. But the biggest problems were in space itself. Without human patrol ships, trade routes became dangerous. Pirate attacks increased by 400% in just 3 months. Cargo ships were being robbed or destroyed almost daily. Captain Rick Stone commanded a Council patrol ship called Stargard. He was one of the few humans who had decided to stay and finish his contract. Now he wished he had left with the others. "Captain, we have another distress call," reported his alien second officer, Lieutenant Claxvy. "A trade convoy is under attack in the Vega system." Rick looked at his mostly alien crew. Without the other human ships, his single vessel was trying to patrol an area that normally required 10 ships. "How long to get there?" Rick asked. 4 hours at maximum speed," Claxvy replied. "By the time we arrive, the convoy will be destroyed," Rick said sadly. "Log it as another loss and send our regrets to the families." This was happening everywhere. The galaxy was too big, and there were not enough non-human ships willing to do the dangerous work that humans had always volunteered for. Meanwhile, humanity was thriving. Free from Council restrictions, human colonies were expanding rapidly. New technologies were being developed. Trade between human worlds was growing fast. On the human colony of New Texas, Governor Ryan Parker was meeting with representatives from the Talnari species. The Talnari were small, peaceful aliens who had always been treated badly by the larger Council species. "Governor Parker," said the Talnari ambassador through his translator, "we have heard about humanity's departure from the Council. We are very interested in establishing relations with your people instead." Ryan smiled. He was a middle-aged man with kind eyes and a friendly manner. "We would be happy to work with you. What can we offer each other?" "We have rare minerals that your industries need," the ambassador explained, "and we would like protection from the raiders who attack our shipping." "That sounds like a fair trade," Ryan said. Our defense fleets would be happy to patrol your space routes, and unlike the Council, we will not take 6 months to make a decision." The Talnari ambassador looked relieved. "The Council always told us that security arrangements required approval from 12 different committees. How long will your process take?" "I can approve it right now," Ryan said. "We will have ships protecting your convoys by next week." Similar deals were being made across human space. Species that had been ignored or mistreated by the Council were eager to work with humans instead. The galaxy was changing, and not in the way the Galactic Council had expected. They had thought losing humanity would be a minor inconvenience. Instead, it was becoming a disaster that threatened the stability of their entire civilization. 6 months after humanity left the Galactic Council, the emergency meeting was called. It was the first emergency session in over 200 years. The Great Council chamber looked different now. Many seats were empty, and the remaining delegates looked worried and tired. Prime Minister Zathara of the Zilithian Empire stood at the center podium. She was the same alien who had argued with Jake Morrison 6 months ago. Now she looked much older. Her blue skin was pale, and her forearms shook slightly as she spoke. "Fellow council members," she began, her voice no longer strong and proud. "We are here because our galaxy is falling apart. The reports from all sectors are disturbing." She activated the holographic display above the chamber. Numbers and charts appeared showing the decline across the galaxy. Red warnings flashed everywhere. "Let us start with trade," Zathara said. The display showed shipping routes across the galaxy. Many were marked in red. Trade efficiency has dropped 42% since the humans left. Their shipping networks were connected to almost every trade route in Council space. Counselor Thren of the Aquatic Federation raised one of his webbed hands. He was a fish-like creature who lived in a water-filled suit. "The humans also managed our cargo scheduling systems. Without them, ships are waiting weeks at stations for loading permits." "It gets worse," said General Korthax of the Warrior Caste Coalition. He was a large warrior-like alien with thick armor and multiple scars. "Military effectiveness is down 68%. The human fleets were doing most of our dangerous patrol work." The display changed to show military reports. Pirate attacks were up by 500%. Entire trade convoys were being destroyed. Several outer colonies had been completely abandoned because there were no ships to defend them. "But surely our own fleets can handle these problems?" asked Counselor Vex of the Silicon Collective. General Korthax made a bitter sound. "Our fleets are designed for ceremonial duties and simple peacekeeping. The humans did all the real fighting. They were the ones who hunted down pirate bases and fought in the dangerous sectors." "What about our exploration programs?" asked another delegate. Director Vashati of the Intelligence Services stood up. She was a tall, thin alien with large eyes and pale skin. "Exploration has stopped completely. Human crews made up 70% of all deep space missions. They were the only ones willing to take the risks involved in discovering new worlds." The chamber became very quiet. The delegates were starting to understand how much they had lost. "There is more," Vashati continued. "Our long-range sensors have detected massive human expansion beyond our borders. In 6 months, they have established 23 new colonies. They have made contact with 8 previously unknown species. And they have developed new technologies that are more advanced than anything we have." The holographic display showed the region of space beyond Council territory. It was filled with new human settlements, marked in bright blue. Trade routes between human worlds were growing rapidly. New space stations appeared every week. "They are not just surviving without us," Zathara whispered. "They are doing better than they ever did with us." Meanwhile, in human space, things were indeed going very well. On the human research station called Discovery, Dr. Alex Turner was working on his latest project. The station was located at the edge of unexplored space far from Council territory. "Alex, you need to see this," called Dr. Marie Collins from across the laboratory. She was looking at readings from their new deep space scanner. Alex walked over to her workstation. "What did you find?" 3 more habitable planets in the Centauri sector," Marie said excitedly. "That makes 15 this month. At this rate, We will have mapped more new worlds in 1 year than the Council mapped in the last 50 years. Alex smiled. Without Council committees to approve every decision, human research teams could move quickly. They could take risks that the careful, slow-moving Council would never allow. Send the data to Colonial Command, Alex said. I bet they will have survey teams on those planets within a month. On the human colony world of New California, Governor Ryan Parker was hosting another diplomatic meeting. This time, the visitors were from the Ethereal Collective, a species that had never spoken to the Council. Your people are amazing, said the ethereal being through its translation device. The creatures were made of energy and light, and they spoke through harmonic sounds. In just weeks you learned our language and customs. Species that have known us for thousands of years still cannot communicate with us properly. Ryan nodded, politely. He was getting used to these kinds of compliments. Many alien species were discovering that humans were much easier to work with than the old Council bureaucracy. We believe in direct communication, Ryan explained. If we want to be friends with someone, we learn about them. We do not form committees to study whether friendship is a good idea. The Council sent us forms to fill out, the ethereal being continued. Hundreds of pages asking about our culture, our technology, our intentions. When we asked why, they said it would take several years to process our application for contact. How long did it take us? Ryan asked his aide. 3 days, sir, from first contact to this meeting. The ethereal being made a sound that the translator interpreted as laughter. We have already agreed to share our energy technology with you. We have also decided to establish a permanent embassy on this world. This was happening throughout human space. Species that had been ignored by the Council were eager to work with humans. They liked the fast decisions, the direct communication, and the willingness to take risks for mutual benefit. Back in Council space, the problems were getting worse every day. Captain Rick Stone was still trying to patrol his sector with minimal support. His ship Starguard was one of the few vessels left protecting a huge area of space. Captain, we have another emergency, reported Lieutenant Claxvy. The Vegan trade hub is under attack by 3 pirate squadrons. Rick looked at his tactical display. The trade hub was 4 hours away. By the time he arrived, it would be too late. Send a message to Fleet Command, Rick said tiredly. Tell them we need backup. Sir, Fleet Command says there are no ships available. The Altarian Defense Force is requesting help in Sector 12. The Aquatic Federation needs patrol ships in the reef systems. The Warrior Coalition is dealing with raiders in the Outer Rim. Rick closed his eyes. Before humans left, there would have been dozens of ships available to help. Human crews never said no to dangerous missions. They went wherever they were needed, whenever they were needed. Log it as another loss, Rick said quietly. The final report came from the Economic Council. Trade Minister Collinth was a short, round alien who had always been obsessed with profit margins and efficiency ratings. The economic numbers are catastrophic, he announced to the emergency session. Without human trade networks, shipping costs have increased by 300%. Without human mining operations, resource extraction is down 50%. Without human manufacturing, production of advanced technologies has nearly stopped. How is this possible? Asked Councillor Vex. Humans were only 12% of Council membership, but they were doing 60% of the actual work, Minister Collinth replied. While we were having meetings and forming committees, they were building things, discovering things, and making things work. The chamber fell silent again. The truth was becoming clear to everyone. They had not just lost 12% of their membership. They had lost the most active, innovative, and productive part of their entire civilization, and now it was too late to get them back. 1 year after Jake Morrison walked out of the Galactic Council chambers, the largest diplomatic mission in galactic history arrived at Earth. 50 ships from every major species in the Council approached the blue planet that had once been just another member world. Jake Morrison was no longer just an ambassador. He was now Earth's Secretary of Interstellar Affairs, the most important diplomatic position in human space. He stood in the main conference room of Earth Orbital Station, looking out at the alien fleet through the large windows. Beside him stood Admiral Kate Sullivan, her uniform decorated with new medals from recent victories against pirates. Dr. Alex Turner was there too, his research having led to breakthrough technologies that made human ships faster and stronger than anything the Council had. They brought everyone, Admiral Sullivan observed, watching the alien ships position themselves around the station. Every species that voted against us is out there. They are scared, Jake said simply. Good, they should be. The main doors opened, and the largest group of alien diplomats ever assembled walked into the room. At their head was Prime Minister Zythara, the same Zilithian who had dismissed human concerns a year ago. She looked much older now, her blue skin pale and her movements slow. Behind her came representatives from dozens of species. General Korthax of the Warrior Coalition looked uncomfortable in his ceremonial armor. Trade Minister Kalanth kept checking his datapad nervously. Even Councillor Vex of the Silicon Collective had come, despite rarely leaving his homeworld. Secretary Morrison, Zythara began, her voice much quieter than Jake remembered. Thank you for agreeing to meet with us. Jake gestured to the chairs, around the large conference table. Please sit, though I should mention that we only have 1 hour for this meeting. I have a conference call with our new allies in the Andromeda sector after this. The alien delegates exchanged worried glances as they took their seats. The idea that humans had allies in other galaxies was disturbing news to them. We have come here today to apologize, Zythara continued, clearly struggling with the we were wrong about humanity's place in galactic civilization. We allowed our fear and prejudice to cloud our judgment. Trade Minister Kalanth leaned forward. The economic data is clear. Without human participation, our trade networks have collapsed. Shipping costs have tripled. Resource extraction has dropped by 60%. Many of our outer colonies are considering independence because we cannot protect or supply them. General Korthax added, our military situation is even worse. Pirate attacks have increased by 800%. We have lost control of 12 entire star systems. 3 member species have withdrawn from the Council because we could not defend them. Jake listened to their complaints with a neutral expression. Across the table, Dr. Turner was taking notes on his tablet, occasionally shaking his head at the numbers being presented. These are serious problems, Jake said finally. What do you want from us? Zythara straightened in her chair, trying to regain some of her old authority. We formally invite humanity to rejoin the Galactic Council. We are prepared to offer full voting rights, expanded territorial recognition, and leadership positions in our military and scientific committees. Leadership positions? Admiral Sullivan asked with raised eyebrows. A year ago, you would not even let us suggest changes to patrol routes. We realize now that human methods, while unconventional, are highly effective, General Korthax admitted reluctantly. Jake stood up and walked to the large windows overlooking Earth. The planet looked peaceful and beautiful, surrounded by the busy traffic of human ships coming and going. In the distance, he could see construction on a new space dock that would be larger than anything the Council had ever built. Your offer is generous, Jake said without turning around, but you are a year too late. He turned back to face the delegation. Let me tell you what humanity has accomplished in the 12 months since we left your council. Dr. Turner stood up and activated the holographic display in the center of the table. Images of new human colonies appeared, along with charts showing rapid expansion and growth. We have established 67 new colonies, Dr. Turner began. We have made first contact with 31 new species, all of whom have chosen to ally with us rather than join your council. We have developed new technologies that have advanced human civilization by centuries. The display showed images of massive human space stations, new types of faster ships, and thriving colony worlds. The alien delegates stared in amazement at what humanity had achieved. Our trade networks now span 4 different galaxies, Jake continued. Our exploration fleets have discovered more habitable worlds in 1 year than the Council discovered in the previous century. Our research teams have solved problems that your committee spent decades just discussing. Councillor Vex spoke up, his metallic voice sounding uncertain. Surely there is room for cooperation. The galaxy is vast enough for both the Council and human expansion. Admiral Sullivan laughed. Cooperation? Where was your desire for cooperation when we were doing all the dangerous work while you sat in committee meetings? We understand your anger, Cythera said desperately, but think of the greater good. Together we could accomplish so much more. Jake returned to his seat and looked directly at the Prime Minister. You are right about one thing. Together, we could accomplish great things, but not as members of your council. The alien delegates leaned forward, hope appearing on their faces. We are willing to establish diplomatic relations between our governments, Jake continued. Trade agreements, mutual defense treaties, scientific collaboration, all conducted between equal partners, not as subordinates seeking approval from their superiors. The hope faded from their faces as they realized what Jake was offering. Not a return to the old system, but a completely new relationship where humans would be equals, not subjects. We need time to consider this proposal, Cythera said weakly. Of course, Jake replied. Take all the time you need. But understand that every day you delay, humanity grows stronger and more independent. Today, you might get a partnership. Next year, you might only get trade agreements. In 5 years, you might get nothing at all. As the alien delegation prepared to leave, Trade Minister Collinth made one last attempt. Secretary Morrison, surely you understand that your expansion cannot continue forever. Eventually, you will need the resources and support that only the Council can provide. Jake smiled for the first time during the meeting. Minister, in the past year, 17 species have left your council to join human alliances. Our expansion is not slowing down. It is accelerating. The question is not whether we need you, but whether you can survive without us. After the aliens left, Jake stood with his colleagues watching their ships depart. Captain Lisa Hayes, now promoted to general and serving as Jake's chief of staff, joined them at the windows. Any regrets, sir? She asked. Jake watched the alien fleet disappear into hyperspace, then looked out at the stream of human ships heading toward unexplored regions of space. Construction crews were building new stations. Colony ships were departing for distant worlds. Research vessels were pushing into the unknown. None at all, Lisa, Jake said. For the first time in human history, we are truly free to reach for the stars. In the depths of space, humanity continued its rapid expansion. New worlds were being settled every week. New technologies were being developed every month. New alliances were being formed with species who appreciated human energy and innovation. The Galactic Council had learned too late that some species are not meant to be controlled. They are meant to be partners, or they are meant to be free. Humanity had chosen freedom, and the galaxy would never be the same.